In this video we're gonna go ahead and change the coil springs in the car. So place your jack in a designated area, jack up the car, and once the jack is up, place your jack stand in the designated area and go ahead and remove the wheel. After your wheel is off, you got access to your coil springs. It is connected to the car with two bolts. This one is a 17mm square long bolt, and it is connected just with the welded nut on the other side. So this is one of the connections that we gotta take out. And also on the other side we got this little bolt over here. This one is coming down with a link, and mine is in a pretty bad shape, so I gotta take care of it slightly more than usual, making sure that it doesn't snap. First thing first, what you gotta do, you gotta somehow just touch your jack over here, make sure that it is just holding, because there is so much pressure on the spring. Now we can go ahead and use a wire brush, killing off the rust from here, and then put a 17mm on it and just lock it off. So the nut came out, but it's a totally different story for me on this one. So I sprayed some anti-rust, and now you gotta follow with the video to see what happened to me next. I was ever so happy starting to go ahead and removing everything, thinking that yeah, within 10 minutes I just gotta have the coil spring in there. But this is what happened. While I was undoing the bolt over here, which was connected to this at the bottom, it is snapped. I've already taken the spring out. It's loose now. There's no pressure on it anymore, and this part just playing quite freely. So the only problem that we have is to get this one out. It's in a really tricky area, and I cannot actually put the camera to get some good shots for you. I'm just gonna do it and get back to you in a second. So here we go again. As you can see, I finally managed to get it out using an angle grinder. I tried to use an Allen key, but it just didn't want to open up, so I ended up cutting it off with an angle grinder. It was like a really dodgy place as well. It was just next to the petrol tank, but with a little bit of a patience you can ace everything. So to put the new parts back in there, all you gotta do, just gotta grab it. By the way, there's no adjustment to this one, so you don't need to do any other sort of adjustment afterwards. It's just like a one standard size, and there's not much to it. Just pull the control arm down, hold it with your foot, feed it in, and that's it. You got it in there. All you gotta do now is just bolt it up. Remember, the bottom side takes a 17 and the top side takes a 19. So here we got both of the shock absorbers next to each other. I'm not being sponsored or anything by KYB, but they are the good stuff. At least here in Europe, they are the well-known manufacturers for these parts. So this is what we have. All you gotta do, at least here in Europe, you gotta make sure that they're the same size when you're doing this, because if you change the size and if you put something slightly higher than this one, then it is classed as lifting up your car and modifying your car. So you got to go through some paperwork and make it roadworthy and legal. But there again, these are exactly the same sizes. All you got to do is transfer whatever is here to this one, because apparently this one comes with some sort of like covers for the coils. It's supposed to help this one not to get rusty so fast. I'm gonna do my best to transfer this one without breaking it to this one, and then continue with the rest of the process. And the reason that we got to go on these two is because when this is under the car, this doesn't need to have that much of a play. most of the play is gonna go to the top and the bottom, and this is just extra leverage in there, or give it the height. So we gotta cover these two, leave two from the top, leave two from the bottom. Another thing that I ordered is this part. This is gonna go on top of your spring, and the spring is gonna sit over here. I ordered some extra ones just to be on the safe side, because with this type of a job, you never know where you gotta get it stuck. The most important part that you gotta make sure that is matching is the diameter of the hole in here, and the way that these carvings are done to the elastic part matches this one. And you also, when you get your new spring and you want to sit it in there, it's got to sit flush, just like that. So if you can pick it up like that and sits flush, then you are in a good shape and you can go ahead and use the new one. Oh, by the way, when you sit in it, make sure that you twist it all the way so it gets a stop right at the end. This way you have successfully installed it in a correct position, and then you should be good to go. So now, to install everything back in its place, first you gotta go ahead and get the bottom elastic part and place it in there. There is actually a hole, a huge hole in there, and it's just gotta go around here. That's where you gotta place it. It's pretty straightforward. I'm just gonna go ahead and use the old one. It has a little marking in here, so I know where the spring is gonna sit, and it makes things way easier for me. Take the control valve down again, just like that. I'm gonna hold it with my foot, and then I'm gonna go ahead and first fit the top bit that goes in there. Slowly, take all the time in the world. Don't force it. You are at the last steps. It's just gonna go ahead and go to the top. I'm just gonna go show you where it goes. So as you come in, it's gonna go and sit right there. So that's where you gotta get it. And then I'm gonna twist it a little bit so I get the right place where it was sitting before. That's been used for so many years. So we're just gonna go ahead and slowly place it where it's supposed to be. Of course, it's not gonna go back straight in because you need to jack it up again. Let's go ahead and start pumping it up. And what are you aiming for while you're pumping the jack up? You gotta make sure that this hole comes exactly in front of this one. That's the bushing, and that hole is gotta go straight right in front of that one. Then we know that we are on the right track. Every here and there, you need to wiggle it a little bit. Make sure you don't damage the bushing. So, actually, to be honest with you, I have another video when I changed this bushing over here. I put the link in the description. On Toyotas, this part is really known to go bad after roughly about 200,000 kilometers. So that's another service for you, and this is a hassle to take out, but I have a proper video on how to take this one out. Make sure you check it out as well. I used the jack stand on the other side, just rest it there temporarily, move the jack here and jack it up. So now we got a good position to start putting the bolt back in. All you gotta do, you gotta put some Loctite on it. So I got my Loctite on, just gonna fill it in. We gotta go ahead and use our socket and do the bolt. And if you want to know how much you got to tighten this one, if you got a torque wrench, it's got to be 35 Newton meters of torque, or foot-pounds of torque, whatever you want to call it. It's Newton meters, it's foot-pounds, whatever. It's 35. That's the amount of pressure that it's got to be on. And yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and use my wrench. And that's, to me, 35 enough.
And this one takes also a 17 millimeter. For this one, it also comes with the blue stuff already in there, so you don't need to use Loctite. Just you gotta put the bushings, and on the bushings you got elastic side and a metal side. So elastic first, then metal. So when you are going ahead and do your nut, you're not rubbing against the elastic. So you gotta go in first, just like that. Then you gotta do your nut, just like so. And that's looking good. Good as gold. Now you can go ahead and undo your jack, and everything hopefully is gonna stay there. To do this type of a job, you need a 17 millimeter, you need a 19 millimeter, and also you need a wire brush, because this is exactly where everything is gonna get really nasty. You also need some sort of a penetration oil. WD-40 will do the job for you. You need Allen keys, set of Allen keys to do this type of a bolt, because you need to undo this one in case things go south. And while you're shopping to do this part, it's advisory to do this link as well. I mean, it's just going to cost another 15 euro here in Europe, and it's going to give you a good quality stuff. It's not some cheap metal. It's just going to do the job for you for many years to come. So yeah, go ahead and invest a little bit more. Get this one as well, so it saves you the trip to the shop and then back again to the business. If you got a angle grinder handy or some sort of a saw, that is definitely a plus, as it was in my case anyway. I couldn't work it out. I tried to heat it up. I tried to do a lot of things with this one, and it just didn't want to budge off. So I had to go ahead and cut it off. And yeah, I went ahead and used the old elastic part on the top. I just wasn't too happy with the overall quality of the elastic part that they sent me. It was a little bit short. It didn't have this type of a lip. It was just like flush. So I went ahead and used the old one. I know that it's gonna just like get sandwiched between two metals and it's gonna pop out, but I didn't want to risk it, so I went ahead and used the old one. It was still in a good shape. It didn't rip off or anything. For the bottom side, I would advise you, while you're buying the springs, buy the bottom sides as well. Mine was, let's say, not in a tip-top shape, but it was still doable, so I just did that one. Remember to transfer the plastic parts, the covers, so your coils will last for a little bit longer, and it just prevents them from snapping somewhere in between as well. So all is left for me to do, put the wheel back on. I'm gonna go ahead and do exactly the same thing on the other side. Thank you very much for watching. I hope this has been informative to you, and subscribe, definitely subscribe to the channel. And if you watched all the way up to here, leave me this time a yellow heart, so I know who is a true follower and who has watched it all the way to the end. Thank you, stay tuned, and I'll catch you up with the next series.